You know that friend who's good at everything? Cooking, dating, taxes. The one guy who somehow plays guitar, has abs, and parallel parks on the first try? The weird thing about successful people is that they all look different. Some are athletes, some build companies, some create art. Some are just weirdly good at things nobody taught them. But underneath, they all go through the same uncomfortable process. Whether you're trying to get that promotion, learn a new skill, survive a second date, or convince your dog that the vacuum cleaner isn't trying to eat him, the process is almost identical.
And no, this isn't coming from the guy who just figured it out.
Ask him how he became successful and he'll hit you with the most useless advice ever. I don't know, I just did it. Great, thanks. And the weird part? None of these steps feel like success while you're doing them. In fact, most of them feel like you're failing. Step 1. Lower the bar until you can trip over it. Your first mistake is picking a goal so big it's basically a personality trait. Get fit. Cool. Vague. Unattackable. Instead, pick something so small it's almost insulting. Put on the gym shoes. That's it. That's the whole goal. Not go to the gym, put on the shoes. Sound stupid? It is a little stupid. But here's the trick. Once the shoes are on, the hardest part is already done. Your brain, which is fundamentally lazy and easily tricked, goes, well, we're basically dressed. Might as well. Congratulations. You've just scammed your own nervous system. Do this every single day. Side note, don't tell people your goal is put on shoes. They will not respect you. Keep this between you and your extremely gullible brain. This works because your brain doesn't actually care about the size of the goal. It cares about the size of the resistance. A tiny goal has almost no resistance, so your brain skips the part where you'd normally talk yourself out of it. But getting started is only the first part. The real trick is what you do the instant you find out you're worse than you expected. Step 2. Fail faster than your dignity can object. Nobody tells you this, but the fastest path to being good at something is being aggressively, embarrassingly bad at it first, in front of witnesses. Picture telling a joke at a party and watching it die in front of everyone, including your date. Somewhere, a single cricket starts chirping like it was hired. The people who get good fast aren't the ones who practiced quietly in a locked room until they were ready. Unless you want to be extremely good at practicing alone in a locked room. The ones who actually get good are the ones who showed up unready, got humbled immediately, and had no choice but to improve because the alternative was living with the shame forever. Shame, it turns out, is an excellent personal trainer. Free, too. Just remember, there's productive public failure and there's getting banned from the community pool, and the line between them is thinner than you'd think. Here's the part nobody warns you about, though. Failing in public gets you moving. It does not, on its own, make you good. And there's a very specific, slightly embarrassing reason some people can fail publicly for years and still be bad at the exact same thing.
Step 3. Copy first, feel bad about it later. Every skill you've ever seen someone have a natural gift for started as them ripping off somebody better and getting slightly less obvious about it over time. Comedians steal joke structures, chefs steal recipes and just rename the dish something French. Painters straight up set up an easel in a museum and copy the painting in front of them. There's an entire respected tradition of this. It's just called studying the masters instead of being a copycat with better branding. So find someone already doing the thing you want to do and copy their structure shamelessly. Not the details, the shape. Write the same program, follow the same schedule, play the same song. Then do your version. It will seem like a cover band playing a song nobody requested, in a key nobody asked for, at a venue nobody chose. That's fine. It's like that until you get a tribute band of your own. Here's the part that trips people up. At the start, your version and a bad copy look identical. Both are rough, both are a little off. Both look like you're poorly cosplaying as someone who knows what they're doing. The only difference is what happens next. One person keeps refining their copy until it turns into their own thing, and the other just keeps doing an increasingly confident impression of somebody else forever, like a guy at karaoke who's now on his 4th Bruno Mars song of the night. So how do you know which one you're becoming?
Step 4. Get roasted by someone who actually means it. Here's how you actually tell the difference between developing your own thing and confidently doing an impression of somebody else forever. You don't. You can't. Your brain has a massive unfair advantage when judging your own work. It knows what you meant to do. Everyone else only sees what you actually did. So you need an outside opinion. Here's the problem. Everyone you know is lying to you. Sweetly, lovingly, constantly lying to you. It's good. It is not good. That phrase has never improved a single piece of work in recorded history. It just makes the liar feel nice and buys you 18 more months of being subtly bad at something. You need one specific person in your life whose entire personality is annoyingly, needlessly honest. Every friend group has one, usually uninvited to things. Hand them your work and brace yourself. This person is a gift. This person is also, unfortunately, insufferable at dinner parties. Side note, this only works if you don't cry in front of them. That's what showers are for. Here's the catch, though. Even the most brutally honest friend can only tell you what's wrong. They usually can't tell you why it's still not clicking after you fixed it 12 separate times. And that part turns out to be a completely different, much more painful problem.
Step 5. The part where you suffer in complete obscurity. Nobody's Instagram story is did the same 9-second drill 400 times so that on show day it would look effortless. But that's what actually happened. Every effortless-looking thing you've ever admired is secretly held up by an unholy number of extremely unglamorous, disastrously repetitive reps that nobody filmed because they were, frankly, boring to watch. Success is basically just being willing to do the boring rep count everyone else quits before finishing. That's genuinely most of it. It's showing up 400 times for the 9-second drill, which, if you're doing the math, is a legitimately concerning number of times to do a 9-second anything.
Here's the part that keeps people from getting there. Reps aren't actually boring the first 50 times. They're boring around rep 200, right when the part of your brain that hands out little participation medals has already clocked out, gone home, and started a new life under an assumed name. But your muscles still need another 150 go-rounds before anything sticks. That gap, not new anymore, not done yet, just an endless beige middle with the personality of a DMV waiting room, is where basically everyone quits. Not at the start when it's exciting, not near the end when it's almost over, right in the flat, forgettable middle, which is exactly where quitting feels the most reasonable and is also statistically the worst possible time to do it.
Caveat: boring repetition and doing the same wrong thing 400 times are very different, and only one of them helps you. Remember step 3, because confident and correct are not the same thing, and confidence won't stop you from looking like a fish flopping on a dock. And even once you've survived the boring middle and racked up the reps, there's still one more way to sabotage the entire thing, and it happens right when you'd least expect it, the moment you finally get good.
Step 6. Get comfortable being the worst person in the room. On purpose, forever. Last one, and this is the one that actually never stops mattering. The second you stop being challenged by the room you're in, find a harder room. Go suck at something new, somewhere else, around people who are annoyingly good at it. It's uncomfortable. It never stops being uncomfortable. Being the worst person in the room hits the same nerve every time, whether it's your first day or your 50th. But it's also the only setting where you keep improving instead of just coasting on being the best person at a thing that stopped being hard like 3 years ago, smiling politely while everyone tells you how impressive you are, dying slowly inside because you know deep down you've been doing the same move since 2019. The moment being good stops feeling uncomfortable is usually the moment you're no longer getting better. So leave. Go be embarrassing somewhere new. It's the only version of this that actually works, and unfortunately, it never stops being true, no matter how good you get.
So here's the pattern nobody wants to tell you. All 6 steps: tiny goal, public failure, shameless copying, someone brutally honest, boring reps nobody claps for, and permanently choosing to be embarrassingly bad at something new. None of that sounds like a highlight reel. It sounds like slightly humiliating multi-year self-torture. That's because it is. That's the actual secret. There was never a shortcut. There was just a willingness to look a little ridiculous long enough to stop being ridiculous. And that's the part nobody can do for you. Congratulations. You now know how to be successful at literally anything. If you liked learning something new in this video, you'll probably like this next one too.
While everyone I know's out on a trip, on a boat, on a lake.